My name is Maya Al Khalil. I'm co-curator of this exhibition, Proximities, which bring 3 generations of UAE-based artists to Seoul at the Seoul Museum of Art. This is a long-term collaboration. It started over 3 years ago with the Seoul Museum of Art by signing a memorandum of understanding between Abu Dhabi Music and Art Foundation and Her Excellency Mrs. Huda Kanu and the Seoul Museum of Art. We started with a collaboration around residencies, public programming, panel discussions, and it culminated in a first instance with an exhibition that took place in May and on Saadiyat Island at Manarat Saadiyat, by bringing artists, Korean artists that are addressing new mediums throughout history, so new media art, starting with the work of Nam June Paik in the 60s up until today. So these were artists from the early pioneers of Korean media art up until today. It was a very successful exhibition, and building on this, we started working on the exhibition that is opening today, Proximities, which is bringing the work of over 46 artists, over 110 artworks from the UAE to the Seoul Museum of Art. The idea of this exhibition is that it's primarily based on collections. So there was an attempt at really tapping into the different collections of the institutions in the UAE. But also one way of talking about proximity with the central question of what does it mean to be near? Not only in place, but in time, in relations, and how do we address that idea of proximities? So how can we discuss proximity between the UAE and Korea from a different perspective or from beyond the idea of geography? We invited 3 artists and artist collectives to work with us in this exhibition, and namely Farah Al-Qasimi, who curated the first section of this exhibition. In the second section, we invited Christiana Demarchi and Mohammed Qazem to create the second section. And the third section was curated by the artist trio Ramin Harizadeh, Rokni Harizadeh, and Hissam Rahmanian. But around these nodes, Eunju and myself, my co-curator, we build artwork that enter in conversation with the work that was selected by these artist curators.
안녕하십니까. 서울시립미술관 학예사 김은주입니다. 이번 전시 근접한 세계를 아부다비 음악예술재단 큐레이터 마야 엘칼릴과 함께 기획하였습니다. 이번 전시는 아랍에미리트 현대미술을 소개하는 최대 규모의 전시로서 한국 관람객들이 아랍에미리트 사회를 발견하고 또 현대미술을 발견하는 좋은 기회가 될 것이라고 생각합니다. 이번 전시는 3개의 파트로 구성되어 있습니다. 각각의 파트는 세대를 대표하는 작가들이 기획한 파트로 구성되어 있고, 그 파트들을 이어주는 커넥션 파트라는 부분을 저와 마야가 작품을 선정하여 이어주고 그 각각의 파트가 이야기를 나눌 수 있도록 하였습니다. 또한 이번 전시에서 가장 중요하게 생각했던 것은 작품끼리의 상호작용을 하고 또 그 작품이 포함된 각각의 섹션이 상호작용을 하는 거였습니다. 그래서 이번 전시를 통해서 발견하실 수 있는 부분은 각각의 에미라티 혹은 아랍에미리트를 중심으로 살아가는 작가들이 어떻게 그 사회를 이해하고 또 서로 관계를 맺으며 살아가는 방식을 이해할 수 있을 것이라고 생각합니다.
So the installation is titled A Comma in Arabic, which a comma in Arabic is simply translated to fasila. So again, the space in between. And basically what happens here, it's an interactive sound installation. I know you're seeing pink sand around us, but it's not just about the pink sand. Actually, what happens is when the audience walks into the space, there are certain trigger points within it that activate sounds, and the sounds are glitches to represent the death of these technological beings. And the more people are in the space, the more sounds are activated. And for me, the goal, to be completely honest with you, is just I really want people to just walk in and sort of detach from what their day was and completely just immerse themselves in this installation and just also have fun.
My name is Ala Idris. I'm an artist from the UAE, participating with 3 works in the Proximities exhibition here in Seoul. 2 of them are from the Khararif series, a series of photographs and a video that's part of the same series. It's a series that I worked on in 2011 that attempts to create a visual documentation, a part of the oral history of the UAE through focusing on folk stories, stories that were told to us by our mothers and grandmothers as a way to discipline children. The protagonists of these stories are usually mostly female jinn. So I try to impersonate these characters through my own self-portrait, giving each character its own characteristic, its own personality.
So my artwork explores the concept of inner cartographies. Cartographies that we feel it in our guts, we feel it through our body, through the movement of either exploring the artwork, the way we move around the artwork. Every time we see it from a different angle, we connect through it differently, and we connect with our vision to this journey differently. And the invisible thread, it can be seen totally different by each person and with each perspective going around the artwork.
Direction, the series of the direction, I started working since '99, and I had an accident in mid-90s when I lost in the sea. So that story has impact in my practice. So I decided to use the GPS as a tools for raising political, environmental, and social issues in my practice by using multiple materials like photographs, a video. And in this exhibition, I'm showing one of the works which is entitled Directions Merging, where you can see the coordinates of the locations in Sharjah and Hamriya. And you can see also the natural elements like the waves and the winds racing the coordinates and taking to them to unknown directions.
The work that you see behind me is titled Monument to the Falling Wall, and it's a work that I realized in 2021-2022. It's a handmade, knitted piece, 6.5 meters tall, that replicates the dimensions of an hypothetical segment of a separation wall. And the work deals with the notion of monument and monumentality, and what does it mean to monumentalize events in history and to celebrate. So when I was thinking about a wall, a separation wall, the very idea of a monument was only to depict it in the act of falling, which is a metaphor, of course, for the falling of borders and separation. The section that we co-curated with Mohammed Kazem is titled Recording Distance and Not Topography, and deals with the notion of a landscape, both urban and natural landscape, and the way the body, the individual relate to that. So obviously it relates to notions of belonging, of displacement, of finding your own place in the world, and kind of recording our positionality within the world. With that purpose, we selected works that either deal directly with materials that are usually used to record topography, meaning mapping, coordinates, but also compasses, and marks of the urban landscape. This is where the work of Vikram Divecha, which is in strict conversation with the monument to the falling wall, and Tarek Al-Hussein mapping of Al-Saadiyat changing landscape, really fit into this notion of positioning and recording from our subjective perspective what the world surrounding us is doing and evolving.
Sitting in these bathtub chairs really feels like home to me, and it's very reminiscent of my own work called Sai. It's a video that depicts a character that I played that wakes up in a bathtub in the middle of the desert, as if she has landed from another planet and is now exploring the desert of the UAE. Both of my works, Sai and my work Al-Ukhra, which is a 3-channel video installation, represent the same character's journey, but are almost like 2 different episodes. The Sai episode is like the first episode or the first chapter, the landing into the world. And then she explores an abandoned park, which is actually located in Suwayhan. It's no longer there anymore. And she basically has some rituals with the objects in that park. She interacts with the objects in that park and kind of treats them as animate characters as opposed to just objects. And so that becomes kind of the episode 2 of her quest.